Hello, my name is Husna, or you can call me Jo. I am from Bandung Institute of Technology. Currently, I am studying in Rudan University in Moscow, Russia. So, for the applying process of ISMA, I first heard about it from my friend. She sent the poster to me because she thought I must be interested in it, and she was right. I was like, why not? So I tried to apply for it. It was in the middle of the exam too, so I studied for the exam. I applied for the Duolingo English test, and I took the test, and I gathered all the documents needed for the application in the middle of taking the final ITB exam. It was very chaotic for me, and it was an interesting process because I have never tried to apply for a scholarship before, and it was very nerve-wracking to say the least, but I made it somehow. So, talking about departure, it was a very interesting process for us since if we found it very hard to leave from Indonesia to Russia because a lot of reasons, mostly bureaucracy and the border. In order to prepare for all the departure, we had to apply for a visa, we had to wait for the invitation letter, and we had to wait for months for it to come. It was definitely a taxing process for us, both emotionally and physically. But we got through it with the help from a lot of people, and we are very grateful for it. We finally departed to Moscow after a lot of struggle, after a lot of waiting. We finally departed, and when we got here, we got quarantined for 3 days. It was our first contact with the Russian dormitory and Russian food. We got food 3 meals a day, and it was Russian food, so it was mostly a food that we have never tried before, such as surnik, such as kotleta, and other Russian food that I think was very interesting for us because it tasted very different from the food we ate back in Indonesia, but I liked it a lot. The dormitory was very clean and it was very good, and we met a lot of people in quarantine too, since for one bedroom of quarantine it consisted of a lot of like 6 people or 4 people, so we met a lot of people there. So the next part is about the paperwork. So you have to do a lot of paperwork in Russia. So for the whole process of paperwork, after we got out of quarantine, it took us a whole day, like 12 hours or 10 hours the most, where we sorted our documents out for the dorms, for the classes, for our student cards, and etc. But because all the administrators spoke only Russian, we found it very difficult to communicate with them. But we got help from a lot of people, like from our friends, our Indonesian friends who studied here, our professors, and a lot of the Rudan students as well. So what's the most interesting for me, the culture shock for me, was how fast everyone was walking. They walk like they are about to run in a marathon, I swear. They walk very fast here, and I think that's mostly because it is very cold outside and they want to get to a warm place quickly. But yes, I found it very difficult at first to keep up with their fast-pacing walk, but in time I adapted. And as you can see that we are tropical people, we see the sun like quite a lot for a year, and we have never experienced this cold before, and we have never experienced snow, so it was a very interesting process for us to adapt to the winter in Russia, which is very harsh and very cold. There isn't a lot of sun here, so yes, it was very hard but very interesting, and definitely something you should experience once in a lifetime. The most interesting part about Moscow is its order and public transportation, because the public transportation here is very good. The city is the biggest in Europe, yet it is so walkable. I swear that you can get from place A to place B, which is very far away, in just like under 1 hour, because you can walk anywhere. You can take the bus, you can take the metro, you can take the tram, and it will take you places. It is so easy to travel here in Moscow, and I really like that a lot. For what we are studying and our courses, it is not so different from what I studied back home, because it is in line with my major at home. But the process is very different. Like for example, the lecturers here push us to do research work more, so we have to study a lot more by ourselves, and it is actually like a workshop kind of thing, so we have to present our work every class. It requires a lot of work and research on our part, and also the lecturers here are very kind. They call us SENI students and they give us sweets and chocolates if they see us like being sleepy in morning class or something, which is something that I find very different from Indonesian lecturers. Besides studying in class, we also studied outside the classroom, such as we got to test the air pollution at the forest near our dorm. We had this really big and expensive thing to test the amount of air pollution there. We went to the forest, snowy forest. We went to the roadside, and also we went to the dorm to test the air pollution. We also went to a waste recycling plant, electronic waste recycling plant. It's called EcoFrom, and it was very interesting because we got to see how the wastes are being recycled, and they explained us the process in detail. So it was very interesting for me. So we studied a lot here. We went to a lot of places. Actually, the university took us to a lot of places, like for example the Kremlin, the Bolshoi Theater, a lot of museums and a lot of parks, and we are very grateful for that. So we studied, we played, we traveled, we did a lot here. I genuinely cannot tell you what I did last week because my days are so full and I cannot remember anything, so I have to write it down before I remember it. But it's been very eventful, it's been very fun, it's been quite a wild journey to say the least. Well, it's not all sunshine and rainbows. I do have my regrets. There is no one who doesn't have any kind of regret. But yeah, all in all, it's been a wild journey and I really enjoy it. So I met a lot of people, I learned a lot of things. I learned how to rely on myself more. I learned how to manage on my own. I learned how to adapt very quickly. I learned how to adapt in a very strange big city with millions of people, with quite frankly a very difficult language to learn. I learned how to adapt, and I think that what is the most valuable is the fact that this experience has opened a whole new perspective for me, because I got to see and I got to meet a lot of people with very different paths in life, and I see that life really could take you anywhere. For example, I am here in Moscow, so life really could be quite the surprise, and I like it a lot. So I think that I am ISMA bias, because there are new magnets I could bring back home to put on my fridge, and there are new places I could call home. And I think that you should go out there and put yourself out there too. So we both to go abroad.